Back like a heart attack. The double team move. It is another one. We keep going. It's Troubles with Weekly Wrestling. We got a lot of crazy shit going on this week. Between the Owen Hart Cup tournaments, Dynasty, Dynamite tonight, you can't miss it. And you know that I'm not gonna miss it. So, let's get to the fucking shit, folks. Thank you again for being part of this show, because I feel like you guys are as big of a part of this show as I am. You guys always have a lot of great feedback for me, a lot of great comments, even the trolls, to be honest. I learned from the trolls. Sometimes I learn, don't feed the trolls, to be really honest. Sometimes I get a little boisterous on social media. And those of you that have known me from social media, you know that. And you know why? Because I fucking care, guys. I really do. I love this shit. I'm a sicko, okay? I'm a sick fucking person when it comes to wrestling. I love it all. And that has led me to this show right here. We have so much to fucking talk about. I am not going to do the usual of breaking down every little thing on Collision, because of course we have Dynasty we got to get into. We got Dynamite to get into. I will say this. It is in the can. The first From Crockett to Chaos episode in the can. And it was so much fun to do. I am very excited for you guys to hear this thing. I think it is going to easily be the best thing I've ever done. It's going to be way more laid out than this show ever has been. And part of that's by design. Definitely most of it is not. And I had a blast talking to Jim, the JIMDB on social medias. Such a good dude, and more importantly, such a wealth of knowledge coming from, that late 80s wrestling fan perspective. And that's something that I didn't have, That's kind of the blind spot for me, if you will, going into the early gestation period of WCW, is that I didn't live it. I don't know all this stuff, as gospel. So it was really nice to have somebody come in and be like, actually, this is what we were thinking, or this was what the reception was. So I am fucking thrilled. And of course, it will be April 17th, the night after Dynamite overtakes, if you will, Nitro as the longest running Turner, whatever network wrestling show. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, what about Saturday night? That was around longer. Well, yes and no. Two problems. That's an early evening slot. I think that, prime time television, much different. Also, I if I'm not wrong, that show moved around a lot. That show was rebranded a lot. Nitro never was. Nitro always was Nitro. It might have been preempted, might have been this or that, but they always were Nitro. So that is really sort of the thing. Very, very cool. It will indeed be Dynamite, though, that will be the longest. And I'm very excited for that. Yeah. Let's get into a little ditty I like to call Dynasty. And I thought Dynasty was an incredible show. You got a lot of people on social media right now real fucking mad. And I like that, to be honest. I really do. I love that people are up in arms about this show, because it proves that it's a good fucking show. It proves that it made a difference, at least in the AEW world, in the larger wrestling world. And so, yeah, I was all about this. I loved the trios little car crash that we had with The Crew, which I will forever hate that name, and Nick Wayne, going up against AR Fox and Top Flight. This was just, hey, 2001 Cruiserweight Tag Team Title Division, WCW, go. And that was what it was, and it did that masterfully. Nick Wayne getting a win here. I really do hope this ends up being a push for him, because I think he is a really good young wrestler, and he's gotten a lot better on the mic. I know a lot of people have mentioned that on various pods, and I agree. I liked that a lot. The Max Caster Open Challenge, when this was announced, I was very interested, because I keep sort of jumping the gun here. Every time this gets announced, and I think Tony knows, he's like, all right, we're doing another Max Caster Open Challenge. It's going to be Josh Alexander. It's going to be, whoever, right? My thing is always Josh Alexander, because it just feels like he's been signed. They're just waiting for the time to bring him in. And I think it would be perfect to do with a Max Caster. And they might very well do that. They could do that tonight, in fact. I don't know. But I like what they did, which was the repackaging of Anthony Bowens, the 5-tool player. I love it. He's still with Daddy Ass. I like that. It's enough acclaimed to, if you know sort of thing, but it isn't just, hey, this guy was in the Acclaimed for the rest of his career. I think that's important. He comes out, he whoops Max Caster's ass, and Anthony Bowens looks like he's got a rocket strapped to him, which leads us to think about, well, Hanger, old Hangman over there, and the men's Owen has the wild card drawn. So who will that be? Anthony Bowens might be a pretty solid choice for that. Just saying. And then, of course, we had Will Ospreay and Kevin Knight, the first Owen tournament match of any, and it was phenomenal. It was fantastic, in fact, and I saw a lot of people online talking about, I am so in to Kevin Knight, and I'm happy to see that. I've loved Kevin Knight since he was a young boy. I loved Kevin Knight when he was with Kushida to begin with as the Jet Setters. I think he is a super talent. I will say this, though. I had no idea how talented he really fucking was. I really was shocked by that. But he is. He's the real deal. He really was right there with Ospreay. And it was cool to see him come out and really not get a reaction. Everyone's like, yeah, whatever, this kid. By the end of it, people are losing it for Kevin Knight. It was a beautiful showing. Of course, Ospreay gets the win. But man, what a great start to the pay-per-view. I thought it worked perfectly. And then we had the women's opener for the Owen. And that was Julia Hart against the TBS champion Mercedes Moné. And I will say this, and a lot of people might want to fucking, crucify me here. I was not high on this match. I'll say this. I think that they figured it out, and the ending was solid, but there was a very awkward middle here where it felt like, I don't know who was at fault. I don't know if Julie was out of touch with things or Mercedes wasn't hitting it right. It just fell apart. To be very honest, it fell apart. And I've watched this match now 3 times because I'm like, I try, guys. I mean, if I think something sucks, I really find myself really dialing in. I'm like, okay, does it suck or am I being a hater? Because I really don't want to be that guy, right? I think it just was not the best showing. Now, with that said, I think Julia did look much better than she has. I really think maybe the nerves got to her. I mean, it is Mercedes Moné you're in there with. She's one of the greatest of all time. I don't know. But either way, we got out of there with a Mercedes win, and she will advance. Julia looks better for it. So far, the Owen has been magical. And then we had the Hurt Syndicate. And they hurt the fuck out of Big Bill and Brian Keith. This was, it was 11 minutes, but it was a beating. There really was not a lot more than that. There were some moments, they did let Big Bill and Brian Keith not look horrible, I guess, but it was all about Hurt Syndicate, and MJF was the decision in a way. He did get the distraction, helped Hurt Syndicate. We're continuing with that story. I mean, right now, they look infallible. They are unbelievable right now, the Hurt Syndicate. They're over. They're having great matches. They just look like the most dominant thing in AEW right now, and I really hope that Tony Khan continues to push that in a big way. I don't know if he has an option, honestly. They're that over, but I did really enjoy watching them, again, do what they do and fucking kill people. It was wonderful. Death Riders put their World Trios titles on the line against Rated FTR. I loved the match. This was one of the better matches, and I really enjoyed that it really was a bare bones match in a lot of ways. It was just an old school multi-man tag, isolation spots, all that stuff was here with the double teams, the triple teams. It was phenomenal. And Wheeler Yuta in his hometown gets the big win off the miscommunication of Rated FTR. We think, wow, what's this about? And it was about FTR turning on Cope. And they fucking, they double pile drove or whatever, fucking assisted pile drivered fucking Cope on his head on a chair. And then mocked him as they left. I really loved the Cash Wheeler putting the fucking neck brace on and, oh, I'm hurt. I like that a lot. I think we're finally back to FTR. I think FTR is way better as heels. They're just not good baby faces. I don't know, that just happens. It's not a knock on them, but they definitely are not. And so this was the move to make here. And that leads us to, I think, the best match until the fucking international three-way, which is Timeless Toni Storm putting her World Women's Championship on the line against Megan Bayne. This was a coming out party for Megan Bayne. If you watch this match and you don't think Megan Bayne is the next big star, not women's, not any of that, period, in AEW, you're blind. This woman was incredible. This very much reminded me of Brock Lesnar spring of 2002. Like, oh, okay. I wasn't familiar with your work, Miss Bayne, was what this was. We had fucking Germans, deadlifts, everything you can fucking imagine here. You could very clearly see the amateur wrestling influence that she has, which we haven't really seen much of before. Toni Storm does what she does here every time, which is, hey, you're good. Let me highlight you. And if I win at the end, great. If not, I'm so fucking over and solid that I'm good. And that is exactly what this was. This was her taking everything Megan Bayne had. And at the end of the day, she got that small package for the win. But this is far from over. And I will say this. I personally believe Megan Bayne should have won that title. I think it would have been, I don't know. I think even the crowd was kind of like, what? She just destroyed you for 15 and plus minutes. Like, what are we doing here? But it's fine, right? If it's Toni Storm, and that's what I told my wife. I said, if it was any other woman, probably, I would be really mad, right? I would be like, what the fuck, right? Megan Bayne's better than you. But Toni Storm, it's fine, right? She just won the title. I get it. But it's also one of those things like, well, Tony, why, if you knew you weren't going to give Megan Bayne the title, did we do this now? I feel like this could have been a double or nothing situation. It is what it is. It's a nitpicky thing. I won't do what most of Threads is doing right now, which is fucking melting down, acting like the main event, which we'll get to in a second, killed the business or something. So ridiculous. Kyle Fletcher, Mark Briscoe for Men's Owen Hart Cup quarterfinal. This was yet again, these guys, evergreen. You want to have a great match on a card, put Kyle Fletcher against Mark Briscoe. It delivers every fucking time. It has never failed. They have not had one bad match. This was no exception. It was like the greatest hits plus here. They fucking went at it. A lot of great, what they do really well too is they do these high impact moves and it's like false finish fest, right? Like that's their thing, is like, he's dead. No, he's not. I'm dead. No, I'm not. And it's like, fuck. Okay. But they structure it in a way that it doesn't feel like too much to me. And of course, I wanted Mark Briscoe to get the big old win, but we all know Mark Briscoe is one of the greatest in history. He doesn't need wins, I guess. And Kyle Fletcher's got to get the win here. He does. And I love Kyle Fletcher. I really do. I think, the comparisons to Orton are obvious with his physique and, his hair and all that. But also as a performer, he's very young, but he's already so skilled and so good, much like Orton was. So another great win for him. And, I've been saying it. The Owen is as stacked, men's or women's, as I can ever remember it. I mean, I really can't remember an Owen being this good. Bandito puts his mask on the line against Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Championship. This is another one a lot of people are upset about. I think you need to go watch Jim Crockett Promotions if you don't get what happened. This is a classic example of a dusty DQ-ish thing. They actually did it better than that because it could have been a DQ. Instead, Jericho uses the bat to beat Bandito, and Aubrey's there with the mom and the sister, and they're like, what the fuck? There's a bat right over there in the steps. Go look. And she's like, really? It really felt like corrections officer to me. And by the way, speaking of corrections officers, shout out to the Bubba Cast over there with old Zerpy. They are doing great work over there. And of course, he does it with Ray Traylor's daughter, Lacey. They're both amazing. I really love the stories that she has. And it's also really, really cool to check out her discover her dad's career. Because, I mean, I know on one of the ones about the UWF, she straight up was like, I didn't really watch Big Bubba. And so it's really neat. It's a nice sort of, not only a good podcast, but it's heartwarming. You know what I mean? It's like, this is sweet, right? Like Lacey's getting to sort of like, hang out with her dad every week. So I really appreciate you guys doing that over there. Go fucking check out the Bubba Cast. They are, they're all over the place. They're on, all the podcast mediums, I believe, also YouTube. Yeah. So there was very corrections officer-ish of Aubrey to be like, what the fuck? Oh, found the bat. You're fucked. Restart the match. Jericho thinks he's going to grab the fucking family. He gets beat. Bandito, finally, the albatross of Chris Jericho with a world title on our televisions or our apps if it's ROH. It is gone. We have removed it from our necks. Bandito finally yet again Ring of Honor World Champion. Let's hope to God this means something good for Ring of Honor. My God. I mean, a TV deal, something, a restructure, put him on Max. I don't know. I don't care, but something's got to be done. That leads us to Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia for the TNT title. No time limits, no outside interference. Another one, I feel like I might be in the minority. I loved this match. I really did like it. A lot of people thought it was slower paced, and I get that. It is. It was much slower paced than their last outing. However, I really liked it. I liked that Cole sold the ankle because let's be honest, if he didn't, people would have bitched anyway, right? Like, so a lot of people that were complaining, like, I think he sold that ankle too much. I don't know. I'm an old school fan. I always will appreciate, the oversell more than the no sell, in my opinion. Daniel Garcia, though, here was phenomenal as well. He really showed out. I think, a lot of people have been low on him with the TNT title run he had. And it's not his fault. It's not his fault that he was not booked well with this title at all. And it's not his fault that, it's very obvious that the Continental and International titles have surpassed the TNT title to Tony Khan and to everybody else. And right now, they are the two big mid-card titles. And then the TNT's kind of left in the dust. However, I think the result of this match of Adam Cole winning the belt, finally he gets AEW gold. I think a lot of people maybe don't understand. He's never won an AEW championship. People would go, well, he had the tag titles with MJF. Hey, that's ROH gold. That's not AEW related at all. And so I love to see it. And a big reaction at the end. I know the crowd was a little low for the match because, hey, this is match 10 of a 12 match card. We've seen some crazy matches by this point. I don't blame Philadelphia. And it's neat because Adam Cole is from Pennsylvania. A little bit of a hometown win here. He got a little bit of a, not as big of a reaction as Wheeler, which is interesting. But again, this match wasn't really built that well. Let's hope Adam Cole winning the TNT title is something good for both the title and Adam Cole. And I don't feel like it's going to be much of an issue there. Kenny Omega defended his international title against Ricochet and Speedball. This was incredible. Match of the night, no doubt about it. And another one, every one of the entities in this match put on a fucking banger. They just did. They were on it tonight. This was a beautiful outing. All three men were on their point. Ricochet, even though he is a Philadelphia Eagles fan, he's very open about that. You would think, in any other place in the world, they would welcome you with open arms, right? Nah. They're like, fuck you too, okay? Now remember, everyone's got to keep in mind, Philadelphia is the city that legendarily booed Santa, okay? During a sports outing. They booed fucking Santa. You think they give a fuck about Ricochet, who, let's be real, Philadelphians, I think that's what you call yourselves, I don't know, but either way, they fucking would hate Ricochet. Here's this Kentucky fucking wannabe, right? Like, oh yeah, he likes the Eagles. I bet he does, right? I just can't imagine it not being that way. But either way, he played into it. He's like, what the fuck? I'm one of you. And they're like, no, you're not. He was fucking amazing here. And of course, maybe one of the most memeable things in the history of wrestling occurred when Ricochet's whooping that ass and he had to do his Rock cosplay, get on the fucking the commentary headset, talk his shit, and out of motherfucking nowhere, Speedball just kicks his fucking head off. And then, as the true Canadian he is, apologized. Someone had to do it. That was great. I also loved that this really was put over as Kenny is not old killer Kenny. A lot of moments where I remember specifically he does his big dive over the top on both men and he lays there a minute and holds his stomach. They're definitely leaning into, hey, this is kind of my last run as a top guy. And, I'm not what I used to be. I really liked that. They keep making that very clear, in my opinion, that, he's not just getting up from this shit like, 2017 Kenny Omega and killing guys with the one-winged angel. That's not happening. However, the end of this match, this is one of the coolest finishes I've seen in a long time. We had Speedball and Ricochet on the top fighting on the avalanche, trying to get something going. Kenny's selling. He comes up from behind. He's got Ricochet up on the shoulders. Then he goes to the second rope with him. What the fuck? And he one-winged angeled him as Speedball's like reaching like, whoa. Speedball's grabbing one leg as Kenny's pinning him 1, 2, 3. Kenny gets the win. Speedball in the tree of woe, flailing as this happens. A very amazing visual. And then after the match, Kenny's like, again, the thing was they sold this so hard of like, I'm fucked. He laid there. He definitely, he's pouring water all over his head and shit. Like, he's like, I'm fucking out of it here. And then music hit and we got this moment right here. Whoa. That was amazing, by the way. I'm leaving that in. This one. Okada said, oh, we're doing this, right? We're doing this? I don't know about that. I'm going to come out and fucking let my presence be felt. And Kenny did something interesting here. He did not stand there and stare lovingly into Kazuchika Okada's eyes like maybe some of us would hope. No. He took his fucking ball and he went home. He very clearly did not want that smoke from Okada, and he fucked off. And it's interesting. Omega never was this guy. But again, we're really sort of putting over like he doesn't have the confidence he used to have. He's very, he's very pensive about where he's at in the wrestling business. He's still not sure of himself. Even though he won the International Championship, he just won one of the best three-ways that AEW's ever had. He knows what Okada is. More than anybody in AEW. And so I love this. This is going to lead to something beautiful. I don't care what anybody fucking says. This is good fucking shit. I'm very excited. And that leads us to the final match of the night here. The big one. The AEW World Championship. It was Jon Moxley defending the title against Swerve Strickland, the same event Swerve became world champion at a year ago when he beat Samoa Joe. This was really good. I think a lot of people, sort of because of what happened after the match, forgot that this was a good match. I like that it started with a lot of mat work, Moxley showing everyone like, hey, I actually can fucking wrestle, guys. I know you guys are shocked by this and everything, but like I can actually wrestle. I'm good at that. And Swerve is too. And they went through those paces. And then finally it was heavy hitter time. And the hits did get heavy. Swerve finding himself getting destroyed and bloodied here. They brawl all over the place. We get a point where there's a ladder involved. We get the fucking double stomp from the ladder through the fucking Spanish announce table to Moxley. I mean, everything imaginable here. And then we had a ref bump. And then we had the Death Riders show up. And you're like, oh, fuck, okay, here we go. And then the Ops showed up. And we're like, wow, okay, the Ops are here to level the playing field. And Hangman Adam Page shows up. And you're like, what's this going to be? He looks at Moxley. He looks at Swerve. Who's he going to hit with the buckshot lariat? It was Jon Moxley. And he starts going to town. And he starts throwing Death Riders all over the place. He gets fucking grabbed by Claudio. And they start fighting around. And Swerve, in all of the craziness, Swerve gets Moxley down. He hits the double stomp. And the lights go out. And we're going, what's this? The motherfucking Young Bucks are in the ring. The EVP triggered Swerve. And that's it. That was all she wrote. They win. Or they don't win, but they win in a way because they fucking fucked Swerve. And everyone online is so pissed at this, right? And again, you guys that are mad, let me just say real quick, and I'm not trying to be a dick, I'm just being honest with y'all. You don't understand how pro wrestling works. If you are actually genuinely angry right now about this, you really literally have never seen an angle in your fucking life. Do you guys not understand what a heel is? Do you guys not understand what heat is? I can't believe that I'm seeing and hearing what I'm hearing about this fucking shit. People are literally trying to say this is the death of AEW and, oh man, are you guys stupid? Because here's what you're missing. Swerve Strickland just became the top babyface in AEW in one night. Undoubtedly in my mind. He has surpassed now Hangman. He has surpassed Ospreay. He's surpassed all of them. Because what does everyone want now? They want the Bucks to fucking kill him. That's literally wrestling psychology 101. And I also say, go listen to my WCW podcast, cheap plug, next week, April 17th. Because if you do, you'll hear about some real fucking bad fucking finishes. Some true dusty level, dusty finish bullshit, okay? Are we having somebody get titles handed back to them for no reason? Are we getting any of that? No, we're not. We're getting the Bucks back. And I still am trying to understand, what is it again that everyone hates about these guys? What did they do wrong? I don't understand. No one can tell me. What do they do? They just annoy you? Okay, well, that's called heat. A lot of this hate, quote unquote, that the Bucks get is really just insecurity. It's just, well, I don't like them. Okay. Talk about sounding like a fucking 3-year-old. You don't like it, so it's bad. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to sit here and say everything WWE does is bad because I don't watch it a lot. If something's bad, it's bad. I don't think this is bad at all. And maybe I'm biased because I like the Bucks, but it's not like the Bucks are my favorite thing of all time. I know what good wrestling is. And what is it again that everyone kept saying going into this show? Well, the Death Riders thing needs to end, or it needs to pivot into something else. Well, here's the something else. The Bucks were behind it. Okay. So it's bizarre to me. I don't understand the hate. I think it's huge. Also, the part of this that no one's put together yet is, yeah, we're going to get the Bucks against Swerve and Hangman together, guys. Like, if in any other era, that alone would have been huge fucking business. Now, with the social media brat fucking low attention span culture we live in, now that's a bad thing. Now when you get things you didn't expect, that's bad. What the fuck is going on? Like it's crazy. And on one hand, yeah, I know a lot of it is trolls. I get that. But a lot of it was not trolls over this week. It has been really insufferable shit. Like, good Lord, folks. And at the end of the day, here it is. If that kind of shit gets you that mad, don't watch wrestling. I'll be that guy. Don't. Because I guarantee you, it's not for you. If you're getting that mad about it, and by the way, I'm saying it as a guy that used to get mad about it. I quit watching WWE for years because of an Edge Undertaker finish, okay? I know because I've been that guy. And it's cringe to me, to be very honest. What is not cringe is Dynamite tonight. And yet again, old Tony keeping everything in his sleeve this week. Not a lot announced so far. We do know the Bucks will be there. They will have a promo explaining what they did. That'll be great. And other than that, we only have 3 things announced. Number 1 is Samoa Joe and Hook in a tag match against Yuta and Claudio. I expect this to be a banger. Hook, is a weird thing in AEW. He's not around a lot. And I think that hurts him. I look at Hook and I go, man, he's got a good look. He's got a good thing about him. He's very much like his dad, like the stoic gimmick. I like it. I love Taz. But I don't think he's getting enough reps in the ring. I look at Hook and I go, man, he would be served so well going to New Japan or like DDT for a month. Just a month. Do what Anna Jay just did. She went to Stardom, and when she came back, she was way fucking better. I feel bad in a lot of ways because I know the guy surely wants to get out there and wrestle. It's just an awkward sort of thing where, he's factored into things, but he's also still pretty green. So expect it to be good. And a banger. I hope fucking Joe chokes somebody out. We have Pac against Swerve. I mean, we can assume Swerve's going to be looking for a revenge in a huge fucking way. But Pac's great. This will be a fucking classic. And then, of course, we have the other Women's Owen quarterfinal. Chris Statlander, Thunder Rosa. And I did not know this. First time ever matchup here. That's crazy. Both of these women been in AEW a while. Now, obviously, Thunder was out a while. Chris Statlander was out a while. They kind of were 2 ships passing in the night for a little bit in AEW. But we finally get one-on-one. And, of course, Timeless on commentary for this. This will be a classic. I'm sure more shit will get announced. I obviously will not be commenting on it. I might on social media. I'm thinking about doing that. When I do these pods and Tony does his fucking late as fuck additions to these cards, I'm thinking about doing like a little short or something on YouTube maybe, and hey, by the way, here's what I think about the thing he announced after I fucking recorded. Here you go. Something like that. But that's what we have for you this week. I didn't talk about Collision because it really just, the story of Collision was the story of Dynasty. The only thing in Collision that was cool was we did have Powerhouse and Tomohiro Ishii tagging against Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke, and it was great. Fletcher dropped fucking Ishii on his knot neck. It was great. That's about it. We did have the tag. We had Speedball and Jurlistico, which was good. It was kind of a glorified job match. We had the tag match with Mercedes and Harley Cameron against Athena and Julia Hart. It was solid. Julia made Harley tap. There you go. That was Collision, folks. And of course, I would be remiss, since it is part of the thumbnail, not to discuss the happenings of Sakura Genesis in New Japan. We had Shota Umino, who's in his, like, I lost my fucking mind arc right now. He beat Tanahashi on his final, countdown tour here, if you will. And then, of course, Hiroki Goto retained the World Championship against Dave Finlay. We all must rejoice to that, because holy fuck, what a dire world we would have lived in if he would have been fucking champion. He wins, and then after the match, of course, Shota comes out and is like, you know what, let's wrestle Friday in Chicago. How's that sound? And he went, okay. So on the 11th of April at Windy City Riot, we will have Hiroki Goto defending his IWGP World Heavyweight title against Shota Umino. Interesting, because again, Shota has definitely been that guy that even though he's losing the big matches, he's getting the big matches. So very clearly, New Japan sees a lot in him. I don't know if it's time for Goto to drop that title, though. I don't. I do think with Goto's history of being the guy that almost did for literally decades, maybe give him a little bit. He hasn't had the title that long. I kind of, that would be a bummer. But, Shota being the world champion would be crazy. So very interesting. And of course, on that card as well, Tanahashi's last American date in Chicago. But last American date, period, by the way. I don't want to misspeak there. And he is wrestling just a guy named Konosuke Takeshita. No big deal. That'll probably be an incredible match. Probably his best match he's had in years. So with that, I actually am done now. Little fucking rapid fire wrestling for you people. Until next time, go watch fucking 80s wrestling and come back to me and tell me that these fucking finishes today fucking suck. You fucking